It is the 1st of March 1936, and the Soviet Union has gotten involved in a conflict in Africa. Italy is invading Ethiopia, so we have sent 2 mountain divisions under Vlasov to help with the defense and see if we can push back against the Italians a little bit. We have no real hopes that Ethiopia will not fall, but we're doing our best to assist with this small country and maybe gain some influence in the world in return to show that the Soviet Union and communism is on the side of the oppressed, unlike capitalism, which is colonizing everything. Aside from that, we've done some remodeling, and we have already 5 army experience, which means we can now fix our tanks. And yes, I haven't restarted the game yet, so we're going to create a variant of the BT-7 that is going to be having a radio and 2 machine guns on it. Sloped armor doesn't make sense on these things. They don't have armor anyway. So for 3 army experience, we get a slightly better BT-7, and that's probably all we're going to be doing with this with these light tanks. So unfortunately, there we go. Now I can see them all. So now we need to just change the production of the BT-7s to the BT-7As, and we can decommission the original BT-7 design. Oh, we already did that. Okay, perfect. So the game does that. Okay, BT-5s decommissioned. These are all decommissioned. We're not going to build any of these. So if we take that down, yeah, there we go. That's a lot cleaner. We don't have enough experience yet to fix our fighters. I think we need like 7 XP or so for it. So if we have a brief look at our air wings, they're still doing pilot exercises, which will give us some air experience, but our stocks are dwindling because our people keep crashing. I don't even know if I can actually see that. No, it doesn't seem to show up here, so I'm not sure if we can see the equipment losses. Nah, not really, but that's all right. So we're still doing air training. Turkey hasn't done anything funny yet. The straits are still demilitarized, and we are assisting Ethiopia with their inquiries, and we're on the path to Marxism-Leninism, because Stalin really is just the successor of Lenin. At least that's how he sees himself, in the time-honed practice of making sure there are no revolutionaries left and shooting everybody who disagrees. Right, so Ethiopia, we're still holding here. Obviously the Italians are pretty weak, and as you can see, we also now, actually this is one thing I wanted to mention, we have new penetration mechanics. So you get kind of partial penetration now against armored targets. That it's not like if you penetrate you do 100% damage, if you don't penetrate you do 50% damage. It's a gradual scale now, depending on how much you penetrate. So that's very nice, because it makes armor a little bit more viable. This also affects the Navy, which is currently not doing an awful lot except for training, because the Soviet Union has 50 to 100 years of industry and everything else to catch up with. So, okay, path of Marxism-Leninism is complete. And one problem that we're having is stability. Given that we have, literally told everybody who was rich and or intelligent that they are now no longer welcome unless they swear allegiance to communism, and give up their richness. This has, as General Melchett would have put it, depressed the Menetad. So we need to do something about that, because it is, first of all, it's Stalin himself who causes lack of stability, and it also impacts our factory output, which means we're not building things quite as fast as we would like to be building them. And we need more factories. That is important. So the next thing that we're going to be doing after reaffirming our adherence to Marxism and Leninism is we are going to deal with internal affairs, which is somewhere over here. So there are many enemies around the world. Many millions of workers need to be liberated. We must not forget to turn our eyes towards the many issues awaiting us at home. So let's sort out some of the problems that we've been causing by dragging the country kicking and screaming into a completely different economic model. This will give us some political power and 10% stability, which is great. So we're going to be starting with that. Okay, back to Ethiopia. And okay, the Germans have remilitarized the Rhineland. That is worrying indeed. As you can see, all these funny people over here raising their arms in the air. Like they just don't care. And the Turks have seized control over the Bosporus. Now that is a problem that actually affects us, because the Bosporus is that bit here. And we need to be able to move our ships in and out. And we need to be able to make sure that this remains possible, because trade routes and things. So this will not happen. We will mobilize, and in fact we actually have mobilized. We have all these mountain troops here, who can at least hold the line against the Turks if they decide to do anything funny, and probably actually show them the error of their ways if necessary. So we will be mobilizing the armed forces, and that will give us 5% war support. That is important, because we are at 42% war support. If we wanted to go to war economy, we need 50%. So that gets us almost there. So mobilize the armed forces immediately. Let's see what the Turkish are saying. And then we're back in looking at Ethiopia and seeing what's happening here. Not an awful lot, presumably. But the Turkey comes to a compromise. So the Montreux Convention has been signed. And while Turkey is able to militarize that bit around Istanbul again, we are now allowed to sail through it. So crisis averted, and we can remove that assault order in the European theater, because it will be these guys, because there is no need to invade Turkey just yet. They have seen the error of their ways, and things have worked out. Where is that fleet, by the way? This was this one, wasn't it? Where are they? Why are they in? I thought I told you to move to. I thought I told you to move to Sevastopol. Yeah, go move over there. All right, it's that. So the Turkish Strait are remilitarized, and there's not an awful lot we can do about it. But that was that. All right, back to observing Ethiopia, and yeah, we're still holding. I was talking about the, and yes, they are cycle charging, which means it's going to be. We will eventually run out of. We'll eventually run out of organization. But oh no, they've stopped actually. The armor penetration mechanics are. Did I change that? I think I did. Yeah, the BT7A are quite interesting now. So there's quite a lot of changes been made to that, and that does affect the Navy as well. So with ships, I haven't even tried naval play yet on By Blood alone, but it'll be quite interesting to see how the changes to the plane designer affect things, and that's the one thing that I'm really keen on. So once we get sufficient air experience from the training here, it's slow going, but once we get sufficient air experience from the training here, and I think we are starting to run out of stockpiles. Yeah, stockpiles are reducing because our pilots are terrible. Then we will be redesigning some planes. So I'm really keen to see if we can, like, what kind of impact plane design can make in a, say, naval scenario. So for the next series, that would be quite interesting, because I don't think with the Soviets we're going to be doing an awful lot in terms of naval things. I might be able to speed that up a little bit. I just want to keep a slight eye on it, but yeah, are we entrenched by now? Ethiopian volunteers. We are getting there towards the entrenchment. Oh yeah, that's one thing that I haven't really addressed yet. The doctrine. Now, all right. So The mass assault doctrine is obviously what we're starting with. The mass assault doctrine is generally considered one of the bad doctrines. Superior firepower and maybe mobile warfare are considered the decent doctrines. So going with grand battle plan maybe if you're going defensive, and mass assault is kind of the odd child here. That said, it is a very Soviet doctrine that I quite enjoy. So we're sticking with that. And yes, it's not ideal in terms of gameplay. Yes, it's not optimal. And it's going to make life harder. But I think it's I prefer it that way. Just you know, to have a bit more, have to feel a bit more like things would go. Now this is a problem. Stalin is concerned about factionalism. He was talking to the Central Committee. Comrade Stalin noted the growing factionalism inside the party. While all members of the committee were quick to assure him of their full and unconditional support, yes, because he'd get shot otherwise, this has apparently done very little to ease his concerns. According to Comrade Joseph Stalin, we must always be vigilant for saboteurs and wreckers who plot against the state in whatever position they may be. This news comes as a bit of surprise to many in the party who believed that the threat of a party split ended with Trotsky's exile. So, yeah, Stalin... and this is going to get really interesting. Stalin now gains political paranoia because he sees enemies everywhere, which has the benefit that we're not going to be drifting out of communism anytime soon, but his political paranoia increases by 1 point a week. So now, if we look over here, we have the paranoia system. It's currently at 0%. When it reaches 25%, Stalin will start shooting people. When it reaches 75%, Stalin will shoot lots of people. And generally the people he tends to start shooting are advisors. So anybody who's in prison currently is in trouble anyway, but even the people who are not in prison can get shot. And he will start shooting generals. So anyone from that list, and admirals obviously. Now the admirals are not a huge problem. He can shoot them if he wants to. The Soviet Navy is nothing much to speak of anyway. The generals, however, I have objections. So and the advisors. So right now nobody's been shot because they'll show up here once they've been shot. But our problem is to now just not manage our economy and our armed forces, but also manage Comrade Stalin. So we have to make sure he doesn't get overly paranoid, which means we have to try and keep his paranoia below 25%. Now there are a couple of ways we can do that. For once, we can just we can do what every good middle management has learned in the centuries and years, to just literally lie to your boss. So we can tell him that the 5-year plan is going to plan and his demands of more production are fulfilled. That'll cost us some political power, and it will cost us 2% consumer goods factories, which isn't good, because that means we are going to have even less factories, or even fewer factories, to build our industry. But it reduces his paranoia because he thinks, well, if everything's going well, then things can't be too bad now, can they? So we can literally send him falsified reports. That's one thing we can do. And obviously there is a whole branch of decisions that are now available. This one specifically, which deal with Stalin's paranoia. It is very, very important that we keep that under check, because if his paranoia gets high, he just keeps shooting people, and we kind of need those. So let's make sure Stalin doesn't shoot everybody, and deal with his paranoia. Now we don't need to do anything yet. We're still addressing internal affairs for some stability, but after that we will get to it. And I have sort of run the numbers and try to find the most ideal path for doing that. So in the meantime, we can once again look and see how things are progressing in Ethiopia. We don't have enough air experience yet to do anything sensible with our planes, but we have figured out how to research a bit better. And this got us range finding, which is not great. We're going to need radios. We're going to concentrate a little bit more on the research. So I'm going to go with the mechanical computing, because we only have 3 research slots, by the way. There are more research slots in the focus tree. There is one. Okay, I'm going to have to find it. The Leningrad Polytechnical Institute is one. We're not going to get there just yet. The other one is the Academy of Science. Yeah. So that's probably the first one we're going to get once we get here. But right now, it's all focused on industry. So we are going to, as much as possible, focus on the industrial. We need to get the 5-year plan finished. See, this is why I'm building factories. So we need 100 factories. We need as many civilian factories as we can get right now to finish the 5-year plan. We still need 14 more. And then we can proceed with the other focuses in there. So for now, that's what we're going to be doing. And here the troops are just trying to get a bit of rest, but they can't even get their entrenchment. Yeah, they can't even get their entrenchment up. They are being cycle charged by the Italians, pretty much literally. But that's okay. Again, they're just here for gaining some experience, and obviously they are getting more powerful because they are now regularly trained troops, and they will be, we will get some crack divisions out of the whole thing. And are they now entrenching? Nope. Okay, internal affairs is done, so we have cleaned up some of the mess, which means we got 10% stability out of the business. But Stalin's political paranoia is on the rise. It's at 4% right now. So let me double check. We can still do some things before we need to deal with that. So right now, given that we've sorted some of our internal problems out, we are now going for the new Soviet woman. Women in the Soviet Union now have rights. They're no longer there to just produce kids. They are here. They can join and stand united in the factory and help building up our industry, which gives us political power, which we need. It also gives us 10% base stability, which is great. It also gives us 10% communism popularity, which is good, because there is still some elements that are actually democratic around here, and that'll wipe that out, which will give us a little bit more stability from that as well. So that's what we're going to be doing next. The new Soviet woman, which does these things. So women now have equal rights in the Soviet Union. Go us. And do I need to do anything else? Not yet. So yeah, we can still get that in. His paranoia is on the rise but it's not too bad. This, by the way, is where this guy comes in, Yagoda, if that's how you pronounce him. He actually increases political paranoia. So this dude is really annoying. Unfortunately, we can't fire him. So he can't be fired because he runs the NKVD, and he keeps telling Stalin that everyone's out to get him. So that one is very, very irritating. The Italians are making some inroads here. We might actually need to abandon the northern front and assist with the defense of Addis Ababa, because that looks like the southern front, and I am actually going to retreat from here, and probably going to retreat from here as well, and help holding the southern front here a little bit more, because if they break through here, that is very thinly defended. If they break through here, then Addis Ababa is going to fall, and then there's not an awful lot. They're pinning us in the north here. Let's see if we can just disengage. We're not really going to hold this anyway. And then, yeah, because they're starting to assault us in the south now, and this is all wide open. So, not an awful lot we can do about it, I believe. They are starting to attack now because we have. What else do we need to hold? Let's hold Addis Ababa. Let's see if we can... Well, they're not yet in Harar, so... we might just hold here for now. And get the other division south to hold this. But this is... Oh, they're gonna march through here. Yeah, there's no defense left here on that side. We're not going to be able to hold this anyway. So let's retreat. And we were trying to hold the north and the south of Addis Ababa. Okay, Second London Naval Treaty. Yeah, they can do that if they want to. Now, we have 150 political power, but we're not going to spend that. You'll say, Terry, why don't you spend it? Like, just go to partial mobilization. Yeah, not quite yet. I have plans. We're going to need that political power, and we're going to need that command power as well. So you will find out what we're going to be doing with that. But let's see if we can... we're still at 5 air experience, so not an awful lot more we can do. Let's see if we can hold Ethiopia just a little bit longer. Yeah, these guys have been defeated, unfortunately. So they are retreating. And okay, so we have one division here. Let's get these guys, once they are actually ready, over to help holding. Now we're gonna have tried to get them in the north and try to hold here. Actually, might not be a terrible position. Let's try and hold this position for now. There's just the danger of us being cut off, but we can still move south if we need to, and we'll just entrench for now, recover a little bit, get a little bit of equipment back because we are short on infantry equipment, and because we don't have enough convoys and we can't get any. But yeah, let's make sure that we're trying to hold at least because the Ethiopians are again throwing themselves into the Italian assault, which is stupid. So let's try to hold the northern areas as much as we can and make sure that the capital doesn't easily fall. So that's not okay. The new Soviet woman is done. So women are now having equal rights, but we are now at 14% paranoia. So we're going to have to do something to reduce that. And we can use, like I said earlier, we can forge some reports. So we can use that initially. Once it reaches that'll reduce it by 20. So once it reaches that, we can forge the production reports, and that'll give us some more breathing room. Because the other important thing is propaganda. This will give us more political power, more communism, which we don't need. I think we have now 100% communism, almost. There's still a little bit of democracy left. Yeah, we'll stomp that out pretty easily. But that'll allow us to use propaganda decisions. And propaganda decisions are very useful. So that's another 35 days that we're going to be doing. And once this has reached 20%, then we can, forge some documents and make sure that... then there come the Italians, yep. Forge some documents and make sure that Stalin isn't getting overly excited about shooting people. Okay, basic machine tools are done, which means we can immediately... I did mention that in the initial... I am going to go down concentrated, even though, again, it's probably not ideal, because it's not as resistant against bombing. But it gives me more factory output. This one gives me 10% factory output. This one gives me 15, and I want cheap things and I want lots of them, so that's what we're doing. We're still constructing civilian factories, and we're still on 10% construction speed, so this is still going to be taking a while, but once we get out of civilian economy, that'll be a boost, and hopefully then things will start accelerating a little bit. We can actually create an intelligence agency in the meantime, because our construction speed is so low that it's really not going to make an awful lot of difference. So we can already recruit an agent. We're going to need them, because one of our arch enemies, where is he? That guy there. That guy is sitting. He is sitting currently over here in Mexico, and we're going to do something about that. But for that, we need secret agents. So create the NKVD agency. Yeah, well, that looks very Soviet, so that's what we're going to be using. and that is going to take five factories away for a month, but I'd rather do it now while they're not very impactful yet anyway. Okay, so we're still holding in Ethiopia, and we can run a little bit longer. Maybe we can still get the fighter designed. I'm just waiting for 7 XP, and then we can stop the costly exercises and get our design going. Actually, they might cut us off. No, we're safe here. We can always retreat south if we need to. Although this is all looking very sketchy in the north here, especially if the Ethiopian idiots keep attacking. I mean, why would you do that? Don't do that. Okay, so here we're holding, and we've got 7. Okay, perfect. Let us switch over and create the I-17A variant. Now, I did say I wanted the 20mm cannons. I'm just going to assume that these are 20mm cannons. One thing, so let me just demonstrate this. One thing here is what happens is while they increase the air attack, they decrease the agility by quite a bit because it's heavier, so the fighters are less agile. I have actually run the numbers in a spreadsheet, and the effect of more air attack vastly outweighs the effect of the lowered agility. They're also more expensive, but even per IC, this is still better. Now, the problem is, obviously, with our current radial engines here, we don't have enough thrust to bring 4 of these heavy cannons. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace the other one with 4 LMGs. So we've got 4 light machine guns in the wings, and we've got two 20mm cannons, probably nose mounted somewhere, and that is going to be the I-17A, the I-16A, the actual proper variant. The first one was a prototype. This is the actual production variant. So save that, and then we can we have to reopen that and change the production to the I-17A, and we are actually going to drop production of the tactical bombers because on the long run I would like to have close air support, but we need more air experience to start designing that, and we'll get that eventually. But now that means we can put we should be able to put 2 why am I only having 1 factory? Where did the other one go? I think we went into trucks. Okay, there we go. Then we can yeah, we still need 20,000 rifles to even equip our current troops, but once we have the air experience, we can do close air support wings. This also means that I can now disband all these air wings again. So I don't need them. They have been there just to, to validate the fact that our airplanes are terrible. I only need 2 air wings. The rest of them can, because I don't have much in terms of reserves. I only got 16 TAC bombers and 138 fighters in reserve. So I'm going to disband some of these air wings again. Like these, that'll give us a couple of planes back. Actually, we might leave these, but I'm definitely going to disband the one of the tactical bomber wings because I need some reserves. So that's going to be disbanded, and that one's going to be disbanded as well. That leaves me with a tactical bomber wing. Okay. And the majority type here. We've got some of the ANT-40s, but hopefully any new production will go into that. Oh, any newly produced ones will go into that. But that's it. That's what we've got. And we actually have 2 fighter wings. That might actually be a bit too much. But anyway, the I-16s are garbage. So we might even send some of the I-15s over the biplanes. I think they're actually better than these. Now actually I'm going to get rid of the other air wings because what's going to happen is that I want all new planes. So I'm going to get rid of these. Actually, yeah, going to get rid of these. Well, it leaves us with 1 fighter wing and one tactical bomber wing. So we disband these. That goes into reserves. What I want is that all newly produced planes go into this wing. So that's what we do. I think I could have done this differently in retrospect, but it's fine. We're still not using our political power, but we have. So we fixed already the first two things in our designs. We fixed the BT7 and we fixed the I-16 to be actually somewhat viable. And we are still defending in Ethiopia. That'll become a secondary theater pretty soon, and you will see why. But all that will happen in the next episode. Anyway, that's it for me today. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.